What's up, guys? Chris here, the Unprofessional Dad, and I'm back with another knife video. It's Thanksgiving weekend. We've had some food. Thanksgiving was 2 days ago. People have been visiting with their family. We've watched some football. Now it's the weekend. People are going to be lounging on the couch, which is exactly what I've been doing all day. It's late. It's like 8:30. I've been lounging on the couch all day. My boys are gone. They're with their mom, visiting her and her family. They're having a good time, enjoying the holidays. So I've just been lounging around. That's pretty much what I do. I either hang out with my boys and take care of them, play with my knives, make videos, or I'm sitting on the couch watching TV. I really have no life. It's pretty sad, actually, but it is what it is. But I hope that you and yours have had a fantastic Thanksgiving and a great Thanksgiving weekend, recouping, working off some of that food, enjoying some good football, and all the things that make America great. And I will say this really quick before I talk about today's subject. Heart goes out to the soldiers that happened in Washington. We should all be thankful for so many more things than just our family and stuff. We should be thankful that we are Americans and that we live in the greatest country in the world, and that we have people like that who are willing to lay down their lives regardless of what side of the aisle or what your political beliefs are. We have people like that who are willing to wear a uniform, like my son, like many of you. You are willing to put your lives on the line for something bigger than yourself. And to all of you, thank you. I appreciate it. My heart goes out to those service members and their families. It's heartbreaking. All right, so there's a conversation going on in the community right now. Are knives becoming too expensive? Are Benchmade knives becoming too expensive? Now, we all have our own opinions about this, and we're all going to talk about it and have our own opinions. But I have an opinion, and normally I don't talk about these kind of things because I'm just not an expert. I'm not a subject matter expert, and I don't want to come across like I do because, I mean, I do have my opinions and stuff, but I'm still new to this. So I try not to get too invested in those arguments or conversations because I just don't feel like I belong in them. But what I'm going to do right now, because of a conversation on TikTok, I'm going to lay down my beliefs and I'm going to lay down an argument on what I think about our knives becoming too expensive. Now, I'm talking about specific knives, Benchmade specifically. People talk about the Benchmade tax, the butterfly tax, the stamp tax. Let's talk about it. Let's see if there is. Now, this isn't a knife review, so nobody has to message me and say, hey, 3 minutes in and you haven't showed your knife yet. It's not a knife review. This is a conversation about a specific topic. People talking about, Benchmade being too expensive and some other brands being too expensive as well. I'm going to show you some knives really quick. These are all knives around $100. We're going to lay a foundation of what price and value is. We're not going to deal with the $40, $50, even $70 knives. We're going to talk around $100 knives to lay a foundation of where the value of knives right now truly is and what people are accepting or what they feel is acceptable as pricing. You don't hear any of these knives being discussed in, oh, those are way too overpriced. You might have one or two people, but let's talk about it. I'm going to start off with Kubi. This is the Kubi Titius. This is a titanium frame lock knife with flame anodized titanium. Now, it has a 14C blade. It is an absolute fantastic banger of a knife. The ergonomics are great. It's a slicey blade. It's also got a little bit of girth to the blade, so it can take some pounding and beating. It's all around a really good EDC knife, beater knife, collector knife. It does have a $100 value. You can find these on sale sometimes for cheaper, but you can consistently find these for right around $100. Now, this is a titanium knife with 14C for $100. But let's go farther than that. This is also a knife that is not American made. It's not. It's made in a foreign country. $100. You don't hear people talking about how this is a too expensive knife, a knife that's overpriced. Let's go on. This is a knife. Every time I've showed this knife, people have talked about how good this knife is. I don't see it a lot, but people that do have it talk about how great this is. This is the Real Steel Huggin. YG10 handles, deep carry pocket clip. This is a crossbar lock. This knife has VG10 blade steel. VG10. I mean, I'm trying to see where it was made. I can't see. I'm sure it was made in China somewhere. Crossbar lock. VG10 blade steel. Crossbar lock. This is consistently around $90 to $100. Every time I've ever showed this knife, people have talked about how good this knife is, and I know why. Because this is a very, very good knife. Civivi. Civivi makes their knives in China. Sincut, Civivi, and We. Now, I'm going to show you a We here in a second too. This is the Sincut. This knife right here, I said Sincut, I'm sorry, Civivi. This is an absolutely fantastic knife. This is, you could get this in either the drop point or you can get like the Warncliffe style blade. It is a button lock. It has aluminum handles with G10 on here. Has a good flipper tab. Look at the grind work on that knife. It is absolutely fantastic. Look at the grind work on that. This is a fantastic knife. This is around $100. $100. You consistently find those for around $90 to $100. You can find them on sale for cheaper, but around $100 is a good price. They might have went down a little bit since then, but nobody's complaining about this knife, the Sentinel Strike 2. Nobody's talking about it. Nobody's saying, hey, that's a terrible knife, or that's overpriced. Right here, Vosteed. Another knife made in China, or at least overseas somewhere, not in America. This has G10 handles, the Vancore lock. It's a front flipper with a small flipper tab, thumb studs, 154 cm blade steel. This is consistently around $100 to $110. Now you can find them, especially right now for Black Friday and Cyber Monday. You can find them for around $75 to $80-ish. But consistently, this is a knife around $100. Now I'm doing this to show you a groundwork, a frame. I'm trying to frame an argument here of what the value of knives are and what you expect to get for certain prices. This is the Kaiser Momo, the full size. Now you can get the Momos for $75, $85, but this is one that has 154 cm, has aluminum and G10 for the handles and bolster. It is a frame lock. It is a fantastic knife. Front flipper. It is basically a chef's knife, folding chef's knife. This thing is massive. It's awesome. Everybody loves the Momo. There's exceptions to that rule, but most of the people out there that talk about the Momo like the Momo. It's a great knife. I'll show you the mini Momo here in just a second. Now, to show you a little bit higher value, let's show you this Kaiser. Oh yeah. This is the Kaiser Tian, whatever. Has thick fullers. S35VN, titanium handles. It is a beautiful, beautiful knife. This knife is consistently around $150 to $160. You can get it on sale for around $130-ish. Stuff like that. I'm talking about brand new out of the box. If you can even still get them, they're probably discontinued. But a great knife made in China. Nobody is talking about this knife being too expensive. Now, let's take our step up. Let's go up a little bit. Let's go up to $200. What does $200 buy you right now when you're talking about a foreign Chinese-made knife? And I want to say something here really quick. I hear people constantly talking about Chinese knives. Chinese knives are terrible. I don't want to buy knives made out of China. Or I don't want to buy knives with cheaper blade steel if it doesn't have this, and this kind of blade steel. But at the same time, they take the price of those Chinese knives that have those blade steels and they set that as the price. That's the acceptable price. So you don't like the knives, but you're not complaining about the price of those knives. You just don't like them because they're made in China or whatever. But they're taking those prices, $70, $80, $90 prices for knives made overseas in other countries that they hate so much and they're vitriolic about because they're made in China. And then they're taking that argument and putting that price tag on more expensive American-made knives. Well, you can't look at the price of these knives, hate these knives, but then take that price and apply it to knives that don't fit that bill, if that makes sense. You can't compare apples to oranges, if you know what I mean. And I'll also say this. On TikTok, I was talking to somebody about this, and they kept saying, no offense to you, I'm not trying to attack you or anything, because if you disagree with me, that's okay. We all have our opinions, and I like it that way. I value the fact that you all have different opinions than me. If we all had the same opinions, it would get very boring very fast. That is what makes a hobby fun, is when different people from different economic backgrounds or cultural backgrounds or whatever, religions, take all that, political, but we all can come together around something like knives and a hobby and a passion, and we agree on it. Yeah, we're going to have disagreements about it, but that's what makes it fun. I see people getting so vitriolic and angry about it, it's like you slapped their child or you called their mom a bad name. They get straight angry in their comments, and I'm like, I don't understand why. Just because somebody doesn't agree with you about a knife or about a price, or so you don't have to apologize to me. If you disagree with me in the comments down below, you don't have to apologize. I value your opinion. You do not have to apologize. Calling my kids names or something like that, first of all, I would take that with a grain of salt because it's on the internet. I wouldn't care. But it ain't like you're attacking my children. It ain't like you're attacking me personally just because we disagree. I think that we need to take more of that vitriolic anger about stuff that's as petty as blade steels or knives, and we just need to let that go, because it's a petty hobby. Honestly, it's knives. People are starving in the world, you know what I'm saying? Let's talk about some $200 knives. This is the Flatanium Arcade. Aluminum handles with small carbon fiber inserts, S35VN. Now, it does have the cool Demco style shark lock. It's not called the Demco style shark lock, but actually it might be. I don't think it is. But great knife, S35VN, $200, not made in America. Nobody's complaining about the price of this knife. Nobody. Concept, the Bison. Titanium frame lock handles, a massive clip point S35VN. Not made in America, made in China. Nobody's complaining about the price of this knife. In fact, this is one of the best knives that I have. I love this daggone knife. If I was going to go hunting tomorrow, like I used to, and I was looking around at all my knives to grab, I would probably grab this one. This is a beast of a knife. Fantastic. The quality is exceptional. Concept makes really good stuff, but it's not American made. It doesn't have a lot of the things that American made knives have, and it's still $200. Nobody's complaining about the price of that. This is the Mini Momo I was telling you about. This is, what is this, 220 bucks, 210 bucks? Now you can find these on sale. S35VN, 80s fat carbon fiber. It is a liner lock. Beautiful knife, exceptional knife. I love this thing. I love that 80s fat carbon. It is a front flipper, a knife that I love. That is, every time I see that 80s fat carbon, it gives me those 80s nostalgic vibes. A $200 knife, made overseas, nobody bats an eye. It's an acceptable price. Now, some people out there probably do think that this is too expensive, and there's a ton of people who would not spend that money on this knife. But what I'm saying is, just because you wouldn't spend the money on this knife, the argument around this knife is not that, oh, those are too expensive. Those are overpriced knives. Again, some people say that. I'm saying the community on a whole is not making an argument. There's not this festering undercurrent in the community that Kaiser Mini Momos and other knives like this, made in China, that cost $200 are so overpriced. These are acceptable prices to the community, not to certain individuals, but to the community. It is what it is. This ain't a $200 knife. This is around $160 to $180. This is a Kubi, titanium. This is Bowler M390. Actually, yeah, Yeah, Bowler M390. They have a lot of these are in S35V, and I couldn't remember which one I got. This is the M390 version. Jesse, I hope you are enjoying yours. He got his for the Premium Knife of the Month giveaway, and I hope that he enjoys it. This is a fantastic knife, and I love it. Kubi, everybody's arguing the pricing. Now, let's talk about some knives. Somebody made the argument, why spend the money on Benchmade, $300 on the American-made knife, when I can get a Spyderco Salt Series with MagnaCut for under $300? Okay, let's talk about that. Now, I don't have any of the Salt Series with MagnaCut, but what I do have is a couple knives around $300, Spydercos. This is the Sage 5 with Rex 121 compression lock. Right now, these are on sale about $250, $260 for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, but expensive knife. Guess what? It is a small EDC knife with Rex 121. Guess where it's made? Not in America. Not in America. You're still paying a lot of money for a knife that's not made in America. 90%, not all of the Salt Series are made in Japan, but the majority of the Salt Series knives are made in Japan. Not a lot of your Salt Series are made here in America. Some of them are. Maybe the Delica. Is it Delica and the Native? I can't remember which ones, but there are some of the Salt Series that are made in America, but most of them are made in Japan. The Sage 6 with S90V. $300. Not made in America. Taiwan. Now, that's not China, but it's really daggone close. In fact, they're fighting over it because they're within swimming distance. Now, let's look at some Spydercos that are American made. This is the Shaman. Golden, Colorado. XHP blade steel. Not MagnaCut, not S45, S35, S90V, S110, Magnamax, MagnaCut, none of that. BDN1. And I like BDN1. It's a tough blade steel. But this is a Shaman, American made. As soon as you're talking American made, though, you're having a good considerable price. What are the Shamans running? $280? $300 for some of them? Micarta handles. You can get them with G10 or Micarta. They are fantastic knives. I love the Shaman. It is probably overall my second favorite knife behind the ProTech Mordax. I love the Shaman. This thing is fantastic. I think it's everything that you need in a good size EDC knife. If you like bigger EDC knives, I think the Shaman is fantastic. It's hard to beat the Shaman, but some people will disagree. Now let's look at some knives also that are considerable pricing that's not made in America. The Lion Steel Mito. Bowler M390, titanium on one side, carbon fiber on the other. This is highly considered one of the best EDC knives ever made by a lot of people. The Lion Steel Mito is fantastic. This is a great knife. This is a Grail quality knife for a lot of people. Not everybody. A lot of people don't think a knife worth $300 to $350 is Grail quality, but a lot of people do. Depends on where your financial budget and your lifestyle is at. There was a time where this was a Grail knife for me. I remember seeing the Knife Center, David C. Anderson talking about the Mito being a knife that if you could only spend $200 to $300 and you needed a good knife and you wanted to get the most out of your knife and the best quality and like a Grail quality knife for $200 to $300, get the Mito. There was several knives that he mentioned, but the Mito was one of them. Fantastic knife. There is not this undercurrent in the community about the Mito being so overly priced. Do certain people think it is? Yes, we're going to keep going back to that. I'm talking about the community as a whole. This is an acceptable knife for an acceptable price in the community. There's not a circle of buzz around it. Chavez. Oh, by the way, it's not made in China. It's made in Italy. But guess what? It's not made in America. Chavez. Oh. There are people that don't like Chavez, and there are people that wouldn't pay the money for Chavez. But guess what? Chavez is widely considered a great knife, a fantastic knife. They sell like hotcakes. They sell out. People wait on Chavez's to drop. Pocket clip, titanium, carbon fiber, Bowler M390. What? $350? Not made in America. Not made in America. Look at that beautiful knife. Look at that blade right there. That black stonewash, that thing is just gorgeous. This is such a good knife. That fat carbon, the titanium, frame lock. It's got that beautiful geared spacer. Look at that blade. I think this is S45VN. Might be S35, but I think it's S45. But I could be wrong. It could be S35. I can't remember. And I don't have glasses on, so I can't see the small print. My eyesight is getting worse. It's getting really, really bad. I'm having to wear Elijah's glasses to do things around the house. It's getting that bad. But made in China. And people don't... Wees are outrageous. They have some Wii knives that are so daggone expensive. It's crazy how much these things are costing these days. Some of them are affordable. Like this Wii right here that is really small. The Bougie Banter. But that's still $220. S45VN. Crossbar lock, titanium. $220. Nobody thinks that's overpriced in the community. People, individuals do. I'm going to have people in the comments saying, no, I totally think that those knives are overpriced. I know that individuals do. I'm saying the community as a whole. Boom. Now, we've laid the groundwork on what is acceptable pricing in the community for different knives. Now what we're going to do is we're going to look at some comparable knives that are American made. Then we're going to go to Benchmade and we're going to show just a couple of their knives, and we're going to talk about what those prices of those knives are and how good they are. And we're going to compare them. And then we're going to see if that's unrealistic. American made knives. These are just a few. Zero tolerance 0562. Carbon fiber, titanium, 20 CV blade. Made in America. Made in America. Widely considered a fantastic knife. I love this. A lot of people have the 0562. It is a Hinderer version. He designed this knife, and you can tell I've got a Hinderer back there, and the ergonomics and the blade is almost identical. Holding this in your hand is like holding that Hinderer. It's that close. It's got his fingerprints all over it. Fantastic knife, American made. Now, we're not going to be talking about any of the Chris Reeves or the Hinderers or the Winklers, the Spartan Harsey, those knives that are $500 to $700. We're not talking about any of those. We're not going to talk about those. Those are very expensive. We're talking about these more production model knives. Amphibian, Bowler M390, not titanium handles. It does have titanium hardware like the pocket clip and stuff like that and the spacer. But apocalyptic blade, Bowler M390, $300. $300. Guess what? American made, $300. ProTech, an American made brand. You know I got to show the Mordax just because I love showing this knife off. Look at that. The most beautiful, best knife ever made. Look at that thing right there. That is just gorgeous. Look at that blacked out version. Button lock, S45VN. The action on this is so daggone good. It is crazy how good the action on this knife is. Aluminum handles. What? $270, $300. You can get them for $250 for the Mordax. Outrageous. The Malibu back there. outrageous. All the Protex back there, the automatics, all of them. Now, somebody said, I seen a Benchmade with 154 for $200. That's terrible. 154 shouldn't be on expensive knives. Well, guess what? You can't hold Benchmade to that standard, because I'm going to show you. TR3 from ProTech, 154. There are a ton of knives that are premium knives, premium brands that are using 154 on blades. Not all of ProTech's. I just showed you one with that S45VN. There are Medfords that are costing $500 with D2. There are expensive knives from expensive brands that are making their blades out of VG10. 154 is a good blade steel. Is it Magna Cut or anything like that? No. But there are knives that 154 is suited for if they're going to be good beater knives, work knives, stuff like that. Knives that you expect to take a beating on and stuff like that. Plus, it's just a good blade steel. Some people like 154. I like 154 a lot. It's one of my favorite blade steels, especially for the money. But just because an expensive knife has 154 does not disqualify that as an expensive knife. Should it be on a lot of expensive knives? No. But can it be? Yes. They mentioned, well, they had a Benchmade that had basically the molded handles, like the bug out right there, the lightweight and stuff like that. Right there, the Deca. I don't hear people going around complaining about the Deca being a knife brand, or the Hogue brand being too expensive, or the Deca being too expensive. To me, that thing feels like a toy. The handle does, not the blade, but the handle does. But consider, those things sell like hotcakes. The Buck Range Pro, 120, 130 bucks. 154, American made, and those molded handles. This has S30V, Benchmade axis lock, which they do the axis lock as good or better than anybody. But 180, you can get them on sale for less than that. One of the best EDC knives ever made, in my opinion, is the Osborne 940 Osborne. To me, this is Benchmade's best knife. I think that this is their gold standard. They have other knives, the Adamas, they just, the Crooked River, you could go on and on. They have so many really good knives. They're lightweight knives and stuff like that. They have a ton of them, and some of them are super expensive, but when you compare them relatively to other knives that are similar, you don't see that high price being an issue. Look at that right there. 920 to 930, 940, or I said 920, 220 to 230, sometimes 240 bucks you'll see for a 940. An American made knife with S30V blade steel, good quality, good craftsmanship, good. You take any American made knife with S30V, American made knife with S30V, that type of craftsmanship, this type of heritage, this type of quality, and we're going to talk about something else that sets Benchmade apart here in just a second. All of that, and tell me that their knife is not considerably in the same exact price range. If you compare Benchmade to knives that are $100 or $80 to $90 if you can get them on sale, or $100, then yes, I can see how you could think that they are too expensive. But you are comparing apples to oranges. You cannot say that $100 is an acceptable price for this, but then say that Benchmade is god-awful and they are overpriced for charging $200 to $220 for this. With the S30V, with their American-made manufacturing. That's another thing. People keep wanting to say, no China, bring back American-made manufacturing. But as soon as you talk about the pricing of that American-made manufacturing, they're like, no, that's too much. We can't do that. No, I want to save my money. The reason that these companies are shipping it overseas is to bring the price down so that people will spend their money, because they know people want to talk about American-made manufacturing all day long until it actually affects them in their pocketbook, and then it's just talk. Because then they're going to vote with their dollars. And where do they vote with their dollars? China. So when you're talking an American-made brand, American-made quality, American-made craftsmanship, and yes, there are Benchmades that are $300, $400, $500. Of course, the Crooked River is one of my, right now, the knives that I'm wanting the most. I've wanted a Crooked River for a long time. I should have got that when I got the bug out, but I didn't have the money to get, I had the money to get 2 knives. I got this, and I got a fixed blade. The fixed blade was one of their Hunt series, and I was able to get 2 knives instead of 1. The Hunt series, lo and behold, is gone. It walked out of my house one day with another MKM. It's the TPF or TFP or whatever. The fixed blade. It's all just an excellent. Both of them walked out of my house one day. So I lost both of those. But I could have got 2 knives, or I could have got 1 knife. I should have got the Crooked River because of how much I really wanted it. But I was glad to have the 2 knives. And I will get a Crooked River one day. But those knives, compared to other American-made knives, are no different than any other brand that you see out there that's American-made, in my opinion. Now, here's the one thing that I'm going to add. When you buy an American-made Benchmade, there are more things that go with it than just the knife. If you take the knife out and you look at it, oh, it's a knife. And then they tell you a price, and it's some high price. You're like, oh, it's not worth it. I'm going to give you an analogy. You go to a car dealership. There's 2 cars. One is an American-made car. Looks normal. It's just a car. One sitting right next to it is not American-made. It's made in Japan or China. Let's say it's $1,500 cheaper. It's $1,500 cheaper. Same mileage on both of them. Same interior. Both of them have cloth interior. Both of them have power windows, CD players. One's just $1,500 cheaper. Immediately, you're going to think the one is a far better deal, and more people are going to jump on that. But what if the salesperson says, hold on, I'm going to tell you why that car costs $1,500 more. You get to bring that car back for life, and you get free oil changes for life. You get to bring that car back for life, free tire rotations for life. You get to bring that car back if it ever messes up. If anything ever happens to that car, if the engine ever breaks down, you get to bring that car back, and we will fix it and send you back on your way. You're paying that $1,500 for a reason. How many people do you think would immediately go, oh, I'm not buying that car. I'm buying that car that's $1,500 more. It's a no-brainer. When you buy a Benchmade, you get a warranty that is second to very few. You get lifetime sharpening. You send this in for the rest of your life. People can watch videos about sharpening because they can't figure out how to sharpen knives. And I understand sharpening is a pain. You've got to really practice it. You got to learn it. And I don't fault anybody for not knowing how to sharpen. It took me a long time to get to where I could sharpen it to cut anything. So I completely understand that. But some people don't have the time for sharpening. Some people don't have the wherewithal or the desire to learn or the desire to just do it. Some people enjoy sharpening like me, but some people just don't want to. You can take your Benchmade for the rest of your life 100 times and do it the 101 time, and they will still accept it. Send it in. They will run this knife up and down. Top this knife off. They will send you a knife back looking like it's a spit shine brand new knife. It will be sharpened. They will probably put some new hardware in it. Not always. They're not guaranteed to do that, but it's happened. I've heard many people sending their knife off and it was in bad shape, and they come back and they've got brand new pocket clips, brand new hardware, brand new springs in it, sharpened. That's what you get when you get a Benchmade. If you just compare this knife for $180 to this knife for $100, I would go with this knife all day long. I'm going to tell you that right now. I would go with this knife. The shilling cutter is a hard knife to beat. But if you tell me that this knife has a warranty that it does, we will sharpen it forever, and by the way, it's American made manufacturing, putting American people to work, putting dollars in the pockets of people that are Americans, putting dollars back into the economy that all those American workers will spend, on and on and on. It's a trickle-down effect. It all rolls downhill. Now, all of a sudden, I don't see this as an overpriced knife because I'm comparing $180 to $100. There's a lot more that goes into it. And when you take everything that goes on with a Benchmade knife, I think that they are, in my conclusion, I think that Benchmade knives are not only not overpriced, I think that Benchmade knives are as competitively priced as any American-made knife there is. One thing I will add, I don't like the bug out. My good friend Jimmy Crow loves the bug out. He does wonders with this thing. It's his favorite knife, and I love that guy to death, and I value his opinion, and this is a great knife. So when I say I don't like it, it's not because I think it's a bad knife. It's because I don't like lightweight knives. I don't like knives that don't feel sturdy and that strong. That I like that titanium feel, that firm grip, the wider handles, the bigger blades. I like that. This is just not my style. But I don't think that it is a bad knife. I think that if they did sell these for $150 to $170, they would sell a lot more. But guess what? They sell so many, they don't need to drop it to $150 to $170 to sell more. They're selling just enough as it is. I think that Benchmade is a very competitively priced brand, and they are doing just fine. Not everybody's going to like them. Not everybody's going to like their pricing. Not everybody's going to want to pay their pricing. Now, if you just don't like Benchmade the brand, if you don't like Benchmade's style of knives, that is another argument. And we all have our own arguments to make and our own perspectives, and you are 100% right. Because the only perspective that matters is your own. Because you're spending your money, so what does it matter what somebody else's perspective is? They're not paying for your knives, you are. So the only perspective that matters is yours, and you are 100% right regardless of what your perspective is. And that's just the way that it is. But in my opinion, Benchmade knives and all American-made knives are priced economically reasonable, competitively, and when you compare what you're getting to compare what you get to other knives not made in America, I think it all works out in the wash. And when you look at it from that lens, you no longer say, those are too expensive. If there's a stamp that's on that, or a luxury stamp, or a luxury tax, it is not because of the stamp that's on it. That's the butterfly. It's the stamp that's on it that says "Made in the USA." That's the stamp. That's the tax stamp. That's what costs you more money. That. And I personally am willing to pay that stamp 100% over because it says American made. I don't mind Chinese-made knives, and I'll buy them all day long. I love them, and I wouldn't get rid of them for anything. And I don't have a problem with Chinese-made knives. That's another conversation completely. But if I do buy an American-made knife, I am willing to pay more money because it says Made in USA. That's just my perspective. It is what it is. This is all in good fun. So I'm Chris Young, Professional Dad. I wish all of you sharp knives, happy lives. Let me know what you think down in the description below, in the comment section. And not in the description, but in the comment section below. Be gentle. I understand that I don't know what I'm talking about half the time, and I'm probably way off about all of this. But I wish you all the happiest of holidays. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. I love you guys to death. You guys are the best community ever. I will see you all in the next video.